our goal is actually to be super timeless and wearable. So our color story is sophisticated. Our silhouettes are just very approachable. We make it easy for guys to look good. And sometimes that means not necessarily hitting trends right on the nose. And that's okay, because typically activewear follows trends by a year or two. So what's funny right now, we're talking about trends, is baggy clothes are coming back. You guys remember the 90s?
No. Right on, welcome to Barbell Shrugged. My name's Anders Varner. We are hanging out in Vuori. Are we in Encinitas?
Yeah.
Encinitas is just like this big place to me, where everyone feels happy and healthy.
Yeah.
We went to go eat lunch last week, and it was like, I didn't know that I ordered the vegan option.
You got to watch yourself
because
around here.
you have to order the meat separate. Only in Encinitas is like the meat and additional
Well, I think
thing.
vegan's the default here.
Yeah.
You have to say non-vegan if you wouldn't like vegan.
It's true. Right. Mike Bledsoe in the house. Joe Kudla. Did I get that right?
Yeah, Joe Kudla.
Kudla. Man.
He's close.
So
that was pretty good.
That's all right. Founder, CEO of Vuori Clothing. So if you are watching this on YouTube and you're wondering, man, why do the guys look so incredibly good today? Man, they look so hot. Well, that's because Vuori decked us out in this sweet gear. Let's get into a little bit of your background. I've always wondered, because I've been in the gym for so long, and there is nothing worse than going and spending a whole bunch of money on fitness clothes, things to work out in, and then you get in the gym, the pants rip, the inseam blows out, they don't fit well. You end up doing that squat where like the back part goes down and there's like crack showing. It's terrible. Most people don't understand how to create a fitness short, which is the kind of the bulk of where your business is. But what is a little bit of the background and how you got into understanding, we'll call it the fitness fashions?
Man, well, it was really just a personal journey. I actually don't have any experience in the apparel industry.
Yeah.
Prior to Vuori, I dabbled and played with a couple small boutique brands that I just got involved more from a passion standpoint, but had never worked with performance materials, which are kind of their own little universe because they just move and stretch and wear differently than your traditional kind of cotton fabrications. And so, for me, it was just a personal journey. And we can get more into the details of kind of how we put the team together to bring the product to life. But, as far as my personal journey that kind of led me to Vuori, I was probably a lot like you guys, played competitive sports growing up and just beat up my body. Football and lacrosse gave me a real nice back problem. And about 10 years ago, I got into yoga. A friend told me I should try yoga. And it was really the first restorative thing I had ever done for my body. And so I went to a couple yoga classes and kind of got hooked. I started feeling really good. And that was the moment that was the aha moment, so to speak, where, I just asked the question, like, what does a guy wear to yoga? And there was just nothing available.
That's a real question, too. If you start going to yoga class, you get in there and all you have is like your meathead clothes and you want to fit in.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the guy in the corner that doesn't fit in.
The girls aren't going to like you. Look, the best part of yoga is that if as a man, it's like me and maybe one other guy. A ton of really great looking women. You want to look good in there.
Yeah.
Is that really the main driver?
Well,
let's just cut to it, right?
Yeah, let's be real.
Yeah, I mean, yoga participation was going crazy in the United States. There was tons of people going to studios, and if we checked in with ourselves, like I wasn't defined as a yogi. I was a football player and a lacrosse player, and I was into all kinds of training. I was in the water surfing. I was in the mountain skiing in the winter, and just living this kind of typical active Southern California lifestyle. And we're like, why isn't there a brand doing something that's just inspired by this lifestyle? Mm-hmm. All the brands that we grew up with and those brands that you were talking about, they're more inspired by kind of urban and street culture. And we were like, here we are on the beach. Like, those guys aren't really relating to us. Like, let's do something that's born of the spirit of this place and make clothes that we actually want to wear both in the gym and when we're just hanging out with our friends.
Yeah, that's a big thing. But what is the difference in material? You mentioned performance fabrics.
Yeah.
What is that? Because I really have no idea how or why I like one short or over the other. I just find a brand and just stick to it until they stop serving whatever needs I have.
Yeah.
And Vuori
It takes a big shift for that to happen. It's like, oh, I'm gonna buy these shorts, keep doing it because I don't want to look for anything else. And then something pops up on my radar at some point. I get one pair of shorts as a gift or something.
Yeah.
And then I'm like throwing out all my other shit. I'm only getting this.
Yeah. Well, they say us guys, we're hard to catch, but once you get them, they're very loyal. Because to your point, you find something you like, and then it's easy to shop for. But yeah, to your point, I mean, performance materials have just come a long ways. When I grew up, I was a gym rat, and I lived in Nike and all these major kind of active brands. And I've learned a lot about those brands and how they build product since then. But, the thing that never connected with me about those brands is just like the kind of overly synthetic, kind of cheap looking polyester, the big logos, the product made you look like you were going to the gym, and I was always wearing like board shorts and cotton tees because I didn't want to look like that guy. And so Vuori's kind of an extension of that. It's like, let's build product that work across all areas of your life, not just in the gym. And we say built to move and styled for life, because we're like, first and foremost, it's got to work insanely well in its intended use. And that at its core is working out, it's training, it's moving, it's sweating. But we want to design it with an aesthetic, so we strip out a lot of the reflective logo hits and the crazy seam details, and we just make it wearable.
Yeah.
Which I feel like was kind of missing from the market. And then to really touch on what you're talking about, we went way up channel in terms of quality. So there's a million ways you can build a garment, and it all starts with the fabric. And that's really the way we design. We start with the materials, and we make sure that those materials are insanely good. So a lot of the big brands, I don't want to name names, but they'll have mandates where they can't work with a fabric if it costs more than $2.50 a yard, because they have costing structures that are really disciplined. They have margin requirements, all these things that are boring on the business side of things. Whereas we'll work with fabrications that are anywhere between $5 and $10 a yard. So we're working with fabrics that just before you even touch it with a sewing machine, the product is either 2 to 4x better quality than a lot of the mainstream brands that we grew up wearing. And that just blew me away, because we're willing to take a little bit lower margin to deliver an insanely great product that we want to wear, and will work across all these areas of our life.
Yeah, what I love about all of the stuff, creating something that's form-fitting that actually works for athletes is really challenging. And then to make it look like something that you can wear outside, where kind of you have that yoga background and inspiration, but do you have any background in like the, I guess, design side of this thing as well, of like, oh, I can wear this in the gym, and most of the time, if you go to whatever Dick's Sporting Goods, there's just a whole host of like basketball shorts.
Yeah.
And they're terrible. They're good for what they do, but they're not good for working out. They're not good for going to the coffee shop. They're not good for yoga, all of these things all at once. How did you kind of put the idea of the fashion plus the performance side of things together?
Yeah. Mike and I were just chatting a little bit before we got on air, and he was talking about, this kind of ethos about curiosity and, being guided by curiosity. And, for me, it's the same thing. Like I had no background in technical fabrications, but I was super curious and I loved product. I just loved it, and I knew that we could build better product than was available on the market. Yeah. And Lululemon, in a lot of ways, they kind of set the stage for this category. It wasn't super relatable to me. It always felt like my wife's brand. But
it's a more feminine brand.
Yeah. But great quality product,
As a guy, you kind of feel weird the first time you walk in. You don't feel weird walking in here.
Well, that was the first time I bought like $100 sweats.
Yeah.
Was Lululemon. I went in, I was like, this is acceptable.
No one judged me when I walked in. I thought that they would.
Yeah. But this is what I've been wearing the last 2 years. Yeah. It's a nice change.
Cool. Well, I appreciate the support, guys.
A lot of the fabrics, though, you talk about, the first time I started to learn about actual fabrics and performance fabrics, you talk about the stretching and kind of the pliability of the clothes, was in board shorts. They came out with like the 4-way stretch, and it was the first time I could sit on a surfboard and not feel like everything was just in my junk, for lack of better terms. And what actually is the material advantages, and where do you find this stuff that allows you to squat and do actual athletic things? I mean, being in a yoga class, you need to have fabrics that aren't going to get you all caught up in your own stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's
caught up in your own stuff. That's a very PG way of saying your own junk.
Your balls are hanging out.
Yeah.
I had that happen about a while back. I wasn't wearing your shorts.
Oh, good.
I picked up. I was experimenting with a new pair of shorts.
Vuori, your balls are out.
I wore them one time. I was doing some animal flow with my friend, and she looks over and goes, "I can see your balls."
That's funny.
We played with some advertising around Go Commando and confidence, but man, you gotta keep it together, guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask that next, because you guys actually have a liner that I don't hate, which is the first time I've ever had a liner and a pair of shorts that I actually like. But anyways,
back to the
material and fabrics. What separates that stuff so that we can have a nice short that works outside, but also you can do yoga, you can squat, you can do all those things. How do we get into finding the stuff, and then what are you looking for when you're on this journey of creating performance clothes that look great?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it all starts with synthetics, right? So it used to be everything was made out of cotton. Polyester came into play back in the day, and it was really cheap looking, but it did dry really fast and it wicked moisture. And so that was like the first performance materials. Then kind of nylon entered the picture, and then full dole yarns came into play. And full dole polyester, I mean, in a lot of cases, you can't even tell the difference between cotton. So enter the athleisure marketplace, because all of a sudden you have fabrications that work really well, meaning, and when I say work, I mean, they stretch great, they dry really fast, they have sometimes anti-odor properties, so they won't bacteria won't bond to them. So just the perfect workout material, right? But then you have these full dole kind of properties and qualities that make the fabrications look really casual in nature and lifestyle, so where you don't feel like you're wearing like a plastic bag when you're going to the grocery shopping. And that Lululemon really built their business off of that fabrication. It was called Supplex. It was a nylon fabrication. They started doing leggings out of it, and the rest was history. But yeah, that's what we look for. We look for fabrications that are going to perform exceptionally well. They're going to move. They're going to dry. They're going to wick moisture, keep you comfortable when you're sweating. But then they have properties that look more like natural fibers.
Are we gonna be able to see through our pants when we bend over with the Vuori? Is that gonna be the issue?
Not, guys. I hope we're not.
You're gonna be featured on the news as a bad person.
I know.
You'll get a huge bonus though
right
when
there.
you.
Yeah, you get a big bonus.
But you get hired by your next company. So the liner, you guys have like a massive. We're literally a 9-iron away from the beach here. There's a massive like surf culture kind of feel and vibe to what's going on. And you guys have the kind of the base product is shorts, right?
Yeah.
What led you in that direction to kind of stay out of, I guess, the shirt market? And you guys are just starting to get into pants. I have them on. I don't take them off. But is a lot of that just driven from the board short and being at the beach and kind of that vibe?
Well, it's definitely that. And, I don't know about you guys, but, when I grew up going to the gym, like, whatever, sometimes you throw on an old graphic tee or a logo tee, or it doesn't even matter, right? Like the t-shirt wasn't as important, but I always wanted to feel supported in my shorts. Like I wanted something that would move. If I'm doing like a deep squat or if I'm running, like I just want support. And so, what's interesting is like most active brands actually sell 3 tops to 1 bottom. That's kind of the golden rule in our industry. And for us, it was the complete opposite. We came in and said, we're going to put all of our attention on the short category, because whether you're going training or you're going to a yoga class, like you may not even wear a shirt, but you need something on the bottoms. We hope you're wearing
not in
bottoms.
CrossFit.
Yeah. Not
shirt
CrossFit.
Comes off.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, shirt's off, but hopefully you're wearing something on the bottom, right?
Well, yeah.
Unless you're a shirt cocker.
And that's a really important thing though. So like when you go to take your shirt off, whatever it is, the liner that you guys have created and use works. What goes into that? Because if you need a model, I'll be the model for you in the underwear liner category. Is that a thing?
How are we going to feature the underwear liner?
Take the top part off. I don't know. I've literally never found a short liner that the first thing.
How comfortable are you having Anders be the model for?
Let's do this, Anders.
I'm in.
Let's do this.
My wife will be so proud of me. But the first thing I usually do when I buy a pair of shorts that has the liner in it is go home and cut it out. Yeah. And when I first started buying the Vuori shorts, it was like, oh, this actually works.
Yeah.
Is there a different material that you guys are using on that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody associates liners with like those 1990s like mesh swim shorts that ride up your butt. Like that's, that,
know about that.
The liner has come a long way from this. For all you listeners at home, trust us on this. You got to try our core shorts or our trail shorts. But the difference is, we're working with really soft material that moves with your body. So it's not like either that really uncomfortable mesh that we're used to as kids, and it's not ultra compressive to where you don't want to just hang out in them all day. Like we kind of found the middle ground. We worked with a Cool Max fabrication, so it wicks moisture, keeps your body cool during a workout, and it's just got the right level of support that it'll hold the boys together.
Yeah.
But it's not going to make you feel like, God, I can't wait to get out of here and take these shorts off.
It's not suffocating.
Yeah, it's not
suffocating. Well, I mean, even 2 years ago, my first pair of shorts, the liner was a little bit thicker, and I didn't like it. And then what you guys had this last year felt even better. So it's even improved within your own line.
Totally. Yeah, constant. We're constantly looking at how can we make the product better.
Yeah. What is kind of the R&D that goes into actually releasing a short? From the beginning, like sourcing the fabrics, and then by the time I get to look super fresh in your gear.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we our development cycle is long. So right now we've already designed spring 2020. So
he's assuming we're going to get there. The sun keeps coming up.
AI.
That's a large
I'm more worried about AI than the sun.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, he might be leading that.
Yeah.
He's got the alien shorts.
Are you using AI to develop your clothes?
We're not there yet.
He knows what you like.
We do have a technology department that is constantly nudging me to do that.
Put a brain chip in there. They'll like the shorts more. But where do you guys source a lot of this stuff from? And then, like, you're already in 2020. That's a long ways out. You're predicting what's going to make people look good, feel good in the future.
I mean, you got to do it because to your point about R&D and testing, like you got to start early. Part of it is that's how the apparel business works. Buyers are always planning their business way out in the future, but it also gives us time to do R&D. So we're in proto stage on shorts that won't come out until January of 2020, but I'm wearing them, going to the gym, running in them, taking them in the water, and just living in them. Because you'd be surprised, like if you only have a day to wear something, like what you're going to think of that short when you wear it a day, you might be like, oh, it gets a passing grade. But when you wear it for like a month straight, you're like, oh, maybe we could fix this.
Yeah.
This isn't working. You
Things start to annoy you.
Critical. Yeah.
One piece that I really start to notice in fitness clothes and working out in them is the seams break down so quickly because we sweat, we're salty, we're in gyms, they're a little grimy. What is that? Like, it's not regular like yarn that you guys are sewing this stuff together with. Like how? I feel like there's so much technology that goes into the shorts. Can you just speak a little bit about how you pick this stuff?
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. Like I feel like I've gotten an MBA in apparel construction because and we've learned the hard way in certain cases. But yeah, I mean there's a million different ways to make a garment. And so if you take a women's legging, right? It seems like a very simple thing to make. But if you just use traditional seam construction that you would use on like a jean or, whatever, a t-shirt, like it's going to pop and those seams are going to break eventually. So we'll work with like specific threads that come out of Japan that have stretch built into the yarn. And then we'll use flat lock seam construction. So A, it won't rub against your leg when you're working out, but B, it'll stretch and move without popping any threads. So there's just so many different ways to construct a garment. But yeah, if you apply the wrong construction technique to an athletic garment, a lot of times people do that to save costs, make a cheaper garment. But yeah, you're destined for quality problems.
Yeah. How long did it take before you launched your first short?
Gosh, we started working on the business in 2013, and we got our first shorts to market in early 2015. Yeah,
so it's a 2-year process.
For us, it was about
Everything's a 2-year process. Can't beat that. So
it's annoying.
Yeah, let's create this shirt. This short, man.
Yeah,
it's gonna be 2 years.
You and I both started several businesses.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we'll be there in 6 months every time.
Yeah.
2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, man.
Like
I really thought I could do it faster this time.
And products so expensive to. I mean, just going and finding from coming up with the idea to actually launching the first one. What is that process?
Well, there was a lot of business planning that was happening concurrently with product development and R&D, right? So we had an idea, but we didn't have the money to fund it. The entrepreneur's dilemma, and so
I need more money.
Yeah. And especially as an apparel brand, like I liken starting an apparel brand to like starting a band. Like going to your friends and being like, dude, give me some money. We're going to be the next big thing. I promise you. It's a very low hit ratio. I mean, there's really no barriers to entry in this market. Like anybody can go start an apparel brand. And you guys probably have a bunch of friends that have done that, started a t-shirt brand.
He's
or a
literally
hat brand.
holding the camera.
No, that's true though. Like I have a lot of friends that have started apparel brands, and then to break into to being big, I think in any business to be the best at what you're doing, takes an insane amount of focus.
Yeah. It really does, man. I've dedicated, my heart, my soul, my time, all of it to this. And it's, never once felt like work, and that's the beauty of doing what you love.
Yeah. Was there a moment where it was like what you woke up one day and you go, well, I've been doing all this other stuff. You didn't grow up in apparel.
Yeah.
Or was that moment where you go, oh, I'm going to put all of my attention here?
Yeah. So I had a really kind of weird post-college life, but I essentially graduated from college here in San Diego, and I got this weird opportunity to go model in Europe, and my friends still give me a hard time about it, but
they're jealous.
Yeah,
they're so jealous.
Oh yeah,
we're modeling right now.
That's right.
Everyone's jealous.
But I got on a plane. I got my diploma and got on a plane to Milan, and I spent 2 years traveling around. And I worked with all these different designers, and I always watched what they did. And I was like, God, I love how they're creating this product and bringing it to life. But I hated the modeling. I hated being in front of the camera. It was horrible. But anyway, so I had always had that kind of in the back of my mind. And when I got back, I went into a career in accounting. And I started a company when I was in my kind of mid-20s, and the business was pretty successful and allowed me to have a little bit of disposable income to invest in a couple other projects. And so I always was investing in apparel brands and lost a lot of money doing it, but I just, I again, wanted to be close to it in any way I could because, and I did learn a lot about garment construction through those times, but it wasn't until, many, many years later when I had a unique opportunity to exit my prior company that I was there. I think I was at that business for about 10 years, running it with 2 partners, and had a really great run. And I just kind of was like, I'm uninspired doing what I do. I was making great money, but just wasn't waking up with a fire in my belly, wanting to come to work. And kind of, for me, like I can't live that way. I have to have a passion for what I'm doing, otherwise it's over. And so it just got to be that point where I said, you know what, this might be the stupidest thing. A lot of my friends, my family reminded me this might be the stupidest thing that I've ever done. But I just knew that, when I was on the deathbed looking back, I had to give this a shot and see if I could make a career out of doing this. And so I decided to go all in.
Yeah,
and,
I find that fascinating. There's a very common story. Is like my friends and family said not to do it.
Yeah.
It's like they're looking out for you.
Yeah.
They'd be afraid to do it, so they don't want you to do it.
Yeah, I was making great money. I had a ton of time. I thought I had it all figured out, but there was just a piece of it missing, And so anyway, yeah, that was the
that
story.
company in the apparel business as well?
No, that was a financial recruiting, IT financial recruiting staffing company.
No wonder there was no soul involved in that. Unbelievable. We're going to take a break. When we come back, make sure you get over to vuoriclothing.com. Use coupon code SHRUG25. If you want to look fresh like me right now and all this cool clothes you see in the background, SHRUG25, saving 25% off. vuoriclothing.com. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. Anders Varner, Mike Bledsoe, Joe Kudla. Got it right.
Nailed it.
We were talking in the break a little bit. The competition in the clothing and apparel industry, especially coming up in this CrossFit world, I feel like every week there is a new brand, there's a new vibe, there's a new culture created in the apparel industry. But you guys made your way into Forbes magazine. You've kind of risen above all of the craziness in this industry and separated yourself. What has been a little bit of that story and how you've separated yourself really to becoming this beautiful place that we're in right now and well known in the fitness space?
Oh man. Well, that's a tough question to answer. At the start, we didn't really think about all that. We were just so laser focused on building great product that we didn't think was there in the market. It sounds really cliche, like, oh, we couldn't find it in the market, so we wanted to build it. But, in this case, this opportunity was so laser focused, or it was so crystal clear for us because, as people that lived here in this environment on the beach, there just wasn't performance clothing that we wanted to wear. I mean, it's plain truth. And I think a lot of other people felt the same way, what it turned out, which, we're very grateful for. But yeah, we spent the early days just laser focused on making good product. And, I guess I'll touch on, the reason why I believe Vuori is successful is somehow, by the grace of God, I was able to put together just an incredible team of people around me that believed in what we wanted to create and we're all swimming in the same direction. So, our designer has 25 years of experience, so I get to be the design hack that, comes up with ideas and sources materials, and I get to work with her to put together incredible garments, and she has a lot of experience. She knows what works, what doesn't work. Our head of marketing, she was our first team member. She came to us from a long kind of history working in the action sports industry and another kind of outdoor active lifestyle brand. And she joined us with just a wealth of knowledge and insights. And so I had this great crew of people around me that again, all believed in this concept and were, I like to say, in business, if you're all swimming in the same direction, it's incredible what you can achieve. The dysfunction that takes place in a lot of places due to ego and a lot of these things, just we're fortunate to not have that play a factor in our business. And, we have a great company culture. Our values is our brand and our brand is our value system, super aligned. And so I think when you get that kind of just momentum, it just kind of starts building off of itself. But it was not an overnight success. When we launched the business, it took a couple years for us to really find our way. We knew that people loved the product, but the way that we were speaking to customers kind of through a yoga lens at first just wasn't really connecting with people. And we did some early surveys. We found out that our customers were loving the gear, but yoga was actually the fifth thing that they were using it for. Number one was running, 2 was CrossFit and training, 3 was going to the beach, and then way down the list was yoga. And we're okay, we've got the product. People love the product, but we're really speaking to people the wrong way. And so we just, awareness and listening. and being willing to take risks and try new things and building, an incredible team of people that are all kind of aligned. I think that's really kind of the little linchpin that put us on this path.
Creating that alignment. So you mentioned at the beginning of that, by the grace of God, we found all these people. Without all the religious things, I don't really feel like that. Like what happens, I really think, is you have an idea in your head, and it takes 2 years to actually figure out what that idea is and get it into paper. And then when you start talking about that thing all the time to everyone you meet, now all of a sudden the marketing person shows up because they have that same belief and the same vision that you do. You're just the one that actually created the thing and then put the product behind it. How much of kind of the self-development or professional development, whatever it is, of actually wrapping your brain around the core values and the mission of Vuori, creating the product that exemplifies that, like, what is a little bit of that process over the 2 years of actually creating a product?
Man, there's nothing that I could point to that's like strategic or tactical about that process. It's more just, authenticity.
Yeah.
And making sure that you're staying true to who you are. As you get bigger, that gets a lot harder. At the beginning, you're just trying to look. I have this idea, this product that's built to move in. It's styled for everyday life. It's inspired by a coastal California active lifestyle. Like, if that's my kind of mission, how do I build product that's actually in alignment with that? Because it's very easy to then go out and build product that looks and feels nothing like that.
Yeah.
But, it's just authenticity. It's being true to that mission. And when you're only creating a small collection, it's a little bit easier. But as you get bigger and you get retailers like Nordstrom and REI and, there might appear to be permission for your brand to enter all these other categories and get really distracted and lose focus. And so it gets harder, it gets harder to stay laser focused and keep just cranking away at what you do best. And I think great brands, great businesses do that really well.
You mentioned you're already into the spring of 2020 and where your brain's at. How do you know where the future of this stuff is going?
You
just know what makes people look good in the future.
No, I think, but you just got to keep your ear to the ground. You got to be observant. You got to be curious, and you got to be in touch with what's happening in the textile industry. For us, that's where we spend all of our time. Is we want to look at fabrications, we want to understand how they work, and we want to look for unique stories with great fabrications, because we know that if we work with an incredible fabric, we believe our garments are amazing as well, but with a great fabric, you could design a very average garment and it still might feel like the best thing you've ever worn.
Yeah,
because it all starts with materials. So
what I find interesting when I look at the fashion industry and I follow, people who may seem like, if you were to see them walking down the street, you're like, wow, they really stand out. But when they're on TV or Instagram or whatever, it's like they're a normal star type situation. But what I've noticed and looking at fashion over the years is you see somebody wearing something that seems outrageous, and then it's 3 or 4 years later, everyone's wearing it. It's now the normal thing. And so when I think about, it's like, how do you know it's going to be in 2020? That's one trend that I've noticed is there's, somebody who's outrageous wearing it, and then there's some people who are like, oh, I guess I'll wear that too.
Yeah.
I'll stand out a little bit, but then, do you notice that with these trends of like, where do you try to fit your brand in as far as like the innovator, the early adopter, and then, you have the mainstream, and then you have the laggards,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because we pay attention to trends, but we're definitely not slaves to them. Our goal is actually to be super timeless and wearable. So our color story is sophisticated. Our silhouettes are just very approachable. We make it easy for guys to look good. And sometimes that means not necessarily hitting trends right on the nose. And that's okay, because typically activewear follows trends by a year or two. So what's funny right now, we're talking about trends, is baggy clothes are coming back. You guys remember the 90s?
No.
Please not. That was literally going to be my next question of form fitting is so much better than all the bagginess.
Yeah. And so active is
why is baggy coming back?
It's just, if you go to New York, you meet with fashion editors, everybody's wearing like the wide leg trousers.
Are you going to show up wearing Jinko jeans one day?
I remember those.
Yeah, like 26-inch
Yeah.
Monstrous chain hanging down.
I think I'm 37 years old now. I think
you know what you like.
Well, here's the thing: is like that's the thing, right? You look at people as they age. At some point, they go, "Fuck it, this is where I'm staying."
I'm staying right in my lane, right
That's
here.
my wheelhouse. I'm happy
Found
here. But I mean, who would have thought in the '90s if you would have said like skinny jeans are going to come back?
No way.
People would have laughed at you, right?
Yeah.
I could have never worn them back then. So it's like oh, we don't want baggy clothes to come in because we're not comfortable with that right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll be wearing. How much longer before we're wearing baggy clothes?
Before we walk in and you can't see any calf, ankles.
I think it's
no ankles in the future, fellas.
Yeah, I think it's many years away. I remember when joggers first came out, people were like, "No, I'm jogger. I'm not wearing that. That's like hipster stuff," But like,
guilty.
but now look at rocking
We've got
joggers.
skinny jeans. We've got quads showing over here on Colton.
Short shorts.
Joggers.
Short shorts is another one, man.
When are you guys gonna do a 4-inch inseam?
We're doing it right now.
You are.
It's coming. Yeah.
Yes, that was the only thing for me. The only thing I find myself rolling your shorts up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now we have 4-inch inseams coming in.
Well,
I'll be
kind of like 5.
That's why they
like
put so much
5,
R&D into the liner, so you can have the 4-inch inseam without a disaster.
Yeah, but we're going shorter.
Yeah, that's about as. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. But that's again, short shorts have been in fashion for a long time, but it's just starting to make its way to active. You're starting to see brands doing more and more 5-inch inseam stuff, and so yeah, I mean, it's nice to not be a slave to trends because that's the last thing I want to do is spend my time trying to predict the future. But if we focus on looks good, feels good, works good, I think we've got a winning recipe.
You don't actually have to predict it if it's just authentic to you and you can create it.
Yeah.
And you say, this is where we're going. This is what feels right.
Yeah.
And then people will follow in line.
Yeah.
When did you guys start kind of branching out? Like the short is the core product, but getting into shirts, this jacket, collar jacket, it's pretty awesome.
I'm jealous of that, by the way.
It's really, really sweet. You should totally get one.
I don't know how we both got different stuff across the board.
Well,
I really like everything I have.
Yeah.
But then I see you wearing your shit. I'm like, oh, I want what he has now too.
Look, I don't know. Well, we're here right now. We're going to be going shopping. So, but when did you start to branch out into the jackets, the pants? The pants right here, super killer. Going from shorts to all these other things. Do you feel like you're actually just getting too wide as you move away from that core product?
I don't think so. I feel like we've always gotten permission from the marketplace to tell us when it's time to extend into new categories. When we launched the business, we launched with more than shorts. So we had tees, we had hoodies, we had some long sleeve stuff, but shorts was just where our customer gravitated. So everybody just thought Vuori's a shorts brand. And it turned out we kind of were by default because we were selling probably 80% of our revenue was coming from shorts. But as that customer got into them, fell in love with the quality and learned to trust the brand a little bit, they were like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll give that hoodie a shot, or maybe I'll try that jacket or those sweatpants. And then as that's happened, it's just kind of morphed into this full collection. And
one of my favorite things is the chino, which you guys only had one.
Yeah.
Is it a chino?
Yeah.
The pant. And I got that. And one of my buddies, it was funny, he's a minimalist. I know a few people are minimalists. They love your clothes for that because they're so versatile.
Yeah.
And you only want to travel with a backpack. I was nomadic the first half of 2018. So I took one pair of pants with me, and it was that pant, and I took it everywhere. It was very versatile. I could wear it. I did. I literally hiked through the jungle in Costa Rica, and then 2 weeks later I was in the south of France wearing them, and they worked across the board.
Yeah.
I thought I destroyed them in Costa Rica. I was having to burn things like little, what's it called?
Threads and
little
stuff?
threads and stuff off of it because I literally
Every day.
It was pretty nasty, but they lasted a good while and they were good in the heat and the cold.
Yeah.
Because what I liked about those, they were easy to roll up.
Yeah.
But you don't make those anymore. You make the ones I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Which are even better.
Yeah, I mean, we're just always introducing new fabrics and new styles into the mix. But yeah, I mean, performance fabrics are just better than cotton. You know, jeans they don't kind of dry quick. They're not, I mean, they're introducing more and more stretch, but they take up a lot of space. Some of these fabrications we're working with, it's like they're packable down to like next to nothing. So they travel great. They don't wrinkle. They're super comfortable. So if you're on an airplane for 12 hours, you know, you're stoked.
And if you're not in SoCal, no one's seen it. Like on the East Coast. When I wear this shit on the East Coast, people are like, oh shit.
Damn. Bledsoe.
But everything starts here when it comes to well, not everything. I mean, you got New York and places in Europe, but like a lot of, especially fitness trends, you know, one of the reasons I love being on the West Coast is fitness trends start here.
Yeah.
So if there's a fitness trend here and you're on the East Coast, you know it'll be hitting you in no time.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, we're surprised to see, like, we look to our online business. We have a big e-commerce business, and we look to that to inform us of where we might want to open a store or where we're missing distribution, and it kind of guides us. And we were blown away to know that New York and LA kind of battle for the top spot.
Oh, wow.
New York City proper, like Manhattan, we ship almost just as much product into Manhattan as we do Los Angeles. And then San Diego, our backyard, is number 3. But yeah, we're just, you know, crazy because like I don't know how New York even found us, you know. I mean, obviously it's the power of the intraweb, but they found us, and then it's working in New York City. So
very cool.
When did you guys move into the brick and mortar? Because it was every time I hear somebody that has a great online e-commerce business and then they open a brick and mortar, I'm like, wait a second, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Why take on all that overhead? Was this always a part of the plan to have a storefront?
Yeah. I mean, Vuori was you know, at its simplest form, we wanted to make product for our friends, and we live here. These is where all of our friends live, and it was a community-inspired brand. And you know, early in our years as a company, one of our investors bought a building, and he was going to tear it down just down a couple blocks here on the 101, and he was like, why don't you guys just take it? It'll be available for 6 months before we tear it down. Why don't you guys just do something there? So we're like, maybe we'll have a couple of events, you know? So we've always been big fan of the arts, and Encinitas is just such an incredible, like, ground zero for like creative energy, you know, whether it's entrepreneurship or it's just incredible artists. You know, there's so much talent here, and we wanted to stand in support of that. So we used a section of that store as a art gallery to showcase the work of local and emerging artists that we wanted to support. And we started having these art shows, and we would do like a training session in the store. Then we'd do an art show that night, and we'd bring in all kinds of vendors. We'd raise money for cool organizations. And, you know, that just kind of had this like groundswell. And it was really about the time when Vuori just started taking off, was when we did that pop-up.
Yeah.
And we had that for about 6 months. And when it was over, we felt like it was like a loss in the family to lose that store, because it had just become such a community hub. And so we were fortunate enough to find this space, and we dedicated an entire wall to that same devotion to community. And so this space, you know, we have a full-time community manager that just is constantly running events in the store. We're having workout classes here. Saturday mornings, we're meeting down on the beach for boot camp workouts. Right now, we're showcasing a local photographer, and we continued that thread of just integrating the business with community, and we're trying to replicate that with our store in Manhattan Beach and our store in San Francisco that we just opened last week. So, yeah, I couldn't imagine having the brand without having physical manifestations of what it represents.
Yeah.
In different markets.
I love it because I actually you don't really think about for a very long time like what people are wearing until you kind of become a little bit attached to a company. And then as you're walking around, you walk into a coffee shop and you see people wearing it. You're like, man, that's really starting to take off. Like there's a real, and every time I'm walking around here outside, you see the V, you start to see the shorts, and it just, you're like, man, there's like a real groundswell of this thing spreading and integrating itself into people's lives out here, just in this surf, fitness, yoga culture that is in Encinitas.
Yeah.
Or Southern California.
I, you know, in the early days, if I saw somebody wearing a pair of our shorts, I would like tackle them. Like, where'd you get those?
That's
what do you
mine.
think? But yeah, I've had to stop doing that.
But you guys have also started to expand into the core products, where the shorts, getting into now pants, jackets, shirts, but you're expanding into the women's lines now.
Yeah.
What makes you an expert in women's clothes?
Oh, come on.
Just master. Yeah. I know what you look good in. I know what I like.
Yeah. No. Vuori, again, going back to the community thing. Yeah, women.
The girls got jealous.
Yeah.
The guys look too good.
That's true. I did. I was wearing stuff. I started wearing stuff, and my wife Ashley is going, I want some of that. I was like, I don't think they make anything for you. Or it was
dudes only.
It was only a couple things at the time.
Yeah. We had such support from women in this community, and we started really small, just testing a couple products, and they were just like flying out the door, and we were like, man, this women's stuff is selling faster than the men's stuff. Like, this is crazy. And it just kind of kept growing organically. And then, REI has been an incredible partner of ours since early on in the brand. They saw us as a differentiated brand in the market, and they wanted to bring it in as a test. And we've grown to be one of their top fitness brands, both in men's and women's. But they really got behind us and supported us in launching the women's business. And it's doing great for them. And Nordstrom the same way. Nordstrom kind of saw an opportunity, saw what we were doing in women's was a little bit different. It didn't look kind of that ultra feminine personality that a lot of the athleisure brands were kind of launching with. It almost looked more like it had those masculine kind of tomboy properties that the men's line had, and super wearable, great fabrications. They saw a differentiator there and brought us in, and so we've had really great support to get behind us to bring the women's to market. But we're stoked to be a multi-gender brand. We always kind of saw it from the beginning as a multi-gender brand. So it's almost in a way the product's just catching up with the brand vision.
Yeah,
oh, that's cool.
I love also giving males the permission to come in and actually go shop and think about the way they look and feel in clothes. I think for so long it's been like women have to go do the shopping and guys aren't allowed. Like, we're just going to go buy the pair of shorts and work out in them. It doesn't matter. And we actually have preferences. We actually want to look good in the clothes we wear. And people go to the gym, they're working out with their shirts off. And then they're supposed to go do what for clothes? Now they're not supposed to care. Yeah. And you come in here and it's like, no, this is where guys and girls now, but this is where guys can come in and actually find out what it is they like. Here's a high performance piece of apparel that you can look good in as well. And I think that there's like a new trend, or you guys have really kind of spearheaded this movement of giving males permission to come in and actually have a shopping experience as part of their journey in finding what they want to be wearing.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying that, because that was always the intention, but sometimes harder in execution. But that was
what over masculine dude's like, no, Vuori, I want to look good, and these clothes, we have preferences, and it takes sometimes somebody creating a space like this where you feel comfortable to come in and say,
make me feel safe.
Yeah, Is there a nice place that I can go where people aren't going to judge me? Like if you do walk into some of other brick and mortar locations and you're in like the nice clothes section, you don't really feel comfortable, but in here it's okay.
Yeah, totally.
It's good to be here. I've really enjoyed this. It's been awesome. VuoriClothing.com.
Yep.
Where else can people find you?
VuoriClothing.com. You can come to our stores if you're down in Southern California, Manhattan Beach, Encinitas, up in SF. Go check out.
Yeah, you guys have a new one. Is it open yet?
Yeah, right across the street from an Equinox on Union Street in Marina.
Location. You could probably charge in San Francisco if rent is $5,000 a square foot. You could probably charge at least $2 million for a pair of shorts up there.
Yeah, we're stoked to be in San Francisco. Love that city, and it's going to be fun to be there. And then, REI, Nordstrom, Equinox, Core Power Yoga, a lot of dealers out there. But, online's the best place to kind of get the full breadth of what we're doing.
So, VuoriClothing.com. And if you are getting over there, use code SHRUG25. Save 25% on your purchase. Mike Bledsoe.
Yes.
Where can people find you? At Mike Bledsoe? _
Mike _ Bledsoe. Jeez. Just give me my fucking name, Instagram. Yeah, Mike _ Bledsoe. You know what? I decided just this past weekend to take my Instagram more seriously. I really didn't.
What wave are you on right now? It's like this hate it, love it. Hate it, love it. I'm going to take it more seriously. This is all trash.
Well, I didn't like social media for some reason. Didn't feel good. And I had some conversations with some friends this weekend. Go, you know what? It's important because
you just got to decide.
It's how we communicate.
Well, you guys being a clothing company, it's probably one of the biggest drivers of traffic, isn't it?
Without Facebook, we wouldn't be here. No doubt.
Yeah.
They helped us build our business.
It's incredible.
Yeah. We were early on with Facebook advertising. Now it's a crazy space, but
Facebook's gotten crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, like podcasts, we're killing it. We're loving it. Podcast is great. Instagram,
it's here.
I'm taking it on. So
here.
Follow me over there. We have the Strong Coach program. If you're a coach and you want to take your shit to the next level, go to thestrongcoach.com. I may or may not still have the first week up for free. So I don't know when this posts. And if not, you can still do it after you buy it. But it's a coaching program where we're actually coaching you. It's not just curriculum. So coaches should have coaches, and that's what we're here for. Yeah. So go to thestrongcoach.com. Now I can't talk. I had way too much strong coffee this morning.
Look at that.
Yeah.
At Anders Varner. Most importantly, get into the Shrug Collective and go visit us at thestrongcoach.com. Tons of cool programs for all the coaches out there that are looking to make a real profession out of this coaching thing in the fitness space. Thestrongcoach.com, shrugcollective.com, 6 shows a week. Man, we're crushing it these days.
Yes, we are.
Things are a lot of fun. Bledsoe Show on Monday, Real Chalk Tuesday, Shrugged on Wednesdays, Feed Me, Fuel Me on Thursdays. And we will see you guys next week.